branded introduction. Everyone, I'm very excited and thankful to be having this artist here killing the down tempo in Orlando, Florida, releasing a new track, Violent Delights, on July 29th. It'll be on SoundCloud, among with many other down tempo tracks that he has out. So, Wubbit, why did you start making EDM music?
I started making EDM music because I was actually DJing for a few years before that. And then before that, I was just obsessed with electronic music. I discovered it in like 2007. And I listened to a Bass Hunter song on the iTunes preview, the 30-second preview. I'd listen to it every day in school because I didn't want to think that I actually liked it. And then I actually convinced myself to download it. And then I just like EDM took over my entire library. And then my friend asked me one day, why didn't you ever DJ? Or why wasn't I a DJ? And I was like, I have no idea. So then he just showed me how to do it. And then I just started doing it every day. And then I wanted to try and make my own tracks. And then that's how I started.
Awesome. 2007, that's like, those were some prime EDM times. What were some of your first shows you remember going to and stuff that really like put you into the scene?
In 2007, when I started listening to music, I was not old enough to go to shows. And I lived in Pennsylvania in a smaller town, so there wasn't really a lot of shows around. But when I moved to Florida, my early years in Florida in like 2011, I went to Venue 578 and Roxy a lot, and I saw so many artists there. People like Kill the Noise and Zomboy, Savant, Pegboy Nerds, Gasoline, Jaws. um, I actually started promoting in like 2016, I think, and it was so I could get myself more acquainted with how the club scene worked and like how the promoters book the DJs and like get more of the behind the scenes look. And doing that, I was able to see like 100 artists, and just like some of my favorites were like Kid and Matzo, Drezzo, Excision's shows are always amazing. I love No Mana, and I actually got to see Joyride once, and I hung out with him in his green room, and it was a really great experience.
So, like, where do you want to be? Where do you want to try to end up with this whole DJing and production thing for yourself and for others? What's your goal?
I would like to portray a little on how my mind works through my music while creating like this Wubbit world. The music I make and play is usually pretty dark and heavy, but still has a groove to it. I love horror movies, like thrillers and space exploration, so I wanted to capture this like dark outer space and magic because I love wizards and mages in video games. I always pick them and max out those skills in RPGs. And I think my goal is to eventually be able to create an album that has a show to go along with it. And I would love for it to be as engaging and unique as something like Virtual Self's Club System set, but with my own sounds, visuals, lights, and maybe I will use like some live instruments as well. I look up to Porter Robinson and everything that he does. His World's Live set was amazing when I saw it, and he matched that with his Virtual Self. They were both just breathtaking experiences.
It's funny you said Porter. I was actually going to get to that a little bit later with your song Birth of Machines. That's definitely some flip on some Porter stuff right there.
Oh yeah, that's a mashup that I did using a kid's song and a Porter's song, and actually a remix of Porter's song that Kid did.
Yeah, that one was really good. And I noticed you said getting a dark atmosphere, but having like positive vibes in it. Usually that's something people wouldn't really like correlate together. How and like how does that come together in your head?
Uh, and that's a tough question. It's kind of like the energy you feel at a really heavy bass show where the music is very intense, but everyone to the left and the right of you is going just as hard as you are, and you share this kind of bond of you taking out all of your emotions in that aggressive music, and that can create friendships Because some of the nicest people that I've ever met are some of the people that listen to the darkest and hardest music.
It's a good point. Usually you're listening to music to like relate to. So maybe sometimes when you listen to that music, like you understand how much of a struggle life can be or whatever. So when other people listen to that too, you share some like similar experiences and stuff.
Yeah. And then you can find others who maybe have had similar experiences to you or have their own experiences that you can relate to, and then you guys can bond and become friends. And
It's a good point. So what is it now with your new song coming out on the 29th, Violent Delights? What's your inspiration for that?
uh, actually, the quote in the song is from Westworld because I got a free 7-day trial to the HBO subscription, and I started watching Westworld and became like hooked on it. And me and my girlfriend were watching the entire first season like so quickly, and yeah, that just inspired me to make a nice creepy song. 'Cause yeah,
Thanks, HBO.
because it has the, artificial intelligence, but in the Western, like, not theme park, it's, like, literally a whole world, but, yeah, people can just walk into it and get traveled into the West world and do whatever they want to the robots, and it has a dark twist on it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw the preview for that. I haven't seen the show yet, though. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Right on. So we were talking about Porter earlier. I'm guessing you'd probably like to collaborate with him. Who are other artists that you would like love to work with?
In the future, I would love to work with Blank and Mezzo and Kill the Noise would be really awesome because they're so knowledgeable, and then the way that they approach, music is very interesting to me, and I would like to have, like it would be awesome to have a side-by-side take on how they approach songs.
Speaking of approaching songs, what's like a typical day in production look like for you?
I usually sit down and rather than just randomly producing because then you just get in this weird hole, I try to constantly ask myself what is the goal that I'm trying to obtain. So if I'm feeling creative, I'll work on either a drop or a breakdown of a song that I'm working on, or if I'm not really feeling creative, I'll probably go to the more technical side and then I'll ask myself like what's going to need reverb or compression, how are my mixing levels or my EQs, and then I'll approach it from a very technical aspect. And then if I'm not feeling either of those, I will just go and make random patches to see if I can make cool sounds. So that way I'm at least always trying to do something.
So like stuff like mixing levels and EQs, me as a producer, I definitely understand. But when taught like before I started producing and listening to music, that's like stuff I would have never thought about or gotten into. Can you try to explain that on a different level for some of the people that might be listening and they're just listeners, not creators?
So some of the technical tools I use are things like compression, reverb, mixing, and EQ. And when I'm approaching things from the technical side, I'll be working on these things to make it sound better and to make everything fit together more. But these are just a few of many of the tools that I use and a lot of other producers use that you can shape to help your sounds fit together or add cool effects onto them. You can use things like compression in a lot of ways, but it works by taking the louder parts of a sound and it compresses those down, decreasing the overall dynamic range, but it also makes the quieter parts of that sound stand out more and become louder. So it's more of a one volume throughout the whole note. Mixing is just a common term used when you're setting volume levels of the different instruments in your song so that they sit together and they aren't fighting fighting each other over who is louder. And when you're mixing and choosing which ones are the loudest, and you're also choosing which ones are like gonna sit in the back of the mix, kind of, and the ones that are just kind of like complement the sounds. And doing this too, you also will be using an EQ, and it's just another tool that displays the frequency range from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, which is your human hearing range. And the EQ lets you have control over individual areas where you can either boost or take away the frequencies. And if you boost them, you're going to be enhancing them to make them sound a little brighter or sharper, but a little too much and it'll make it sound really harsh and nasty, or like there's like weird whistles or just way too much bass, and those like stupid Facebook videos where they have like the bass distortion turned all the way up and it's just like and you can just tell. But yeah, that's a little bit on the EQ.
That's perfect. I feel like some people might not understand how technical and mathematical some of that stuff can kind of actually wind up being. What are some ways that you help yourself like stay creative? You mentioned watching Westworld, new TV show. So outside of watching a new show or something like that, how can you keep that creative drive going?
It's something that it comes and goes. But I find that if I'm really, really not feeling it, forcing yourself to do it isn't always the best. It's better to go like recharge your batteries and like play video games, or could just in general just consuming any sort of form of content, whether it's going to a park or going on a walk or going to in Florida here, there's a lot of springs and you can go kayaking and watching movies and hanging out with your friends and just living life outside of the computer. It just helps you recharge, and when you get back to the studio, you just come back to it like refreshed rather than feeling like it's a never ending thing.
Yeah, some of the springs around here are really awesome. Are you talking about like Ginny Springs and Crystal River and Rainbow River and all that?
Yeah, and in Orlando we have Wekiva Springs that they have a lazy river. Well, that's actually at Kelly Park, and then they have an area where you can canoe.
It's always like what, 68 degrees in there?
Yeah, the water. I mean, you get used to it, but it's always pretty cold. It takes me a minute to get in.
I mean, when it's 100 degrees outside though, too, it definitely feels pretty nice.
Yeah, that's something I'll never get used to from moving from Pennsylvania. This summer heat is like horrendous.
It's wet too. Yeah. You walk outside and it's like Florida just licks your face. It's ridiculous. So we've gone back and forth on Twitter a little. Uh, I made a comment about not understanding my coworkers and how they can go out and drink every night, but they'll never try mushrooms or LSD. And you have some experience with psychedelics. How has that helped your creative process, or what are those experiences like for you?
It's helped me reflect on who I am and what I want to do with myself in my life, and realize behaviors that you can change to make yourself a better person and to be more positive.
So, what's a better person to you?
Can you just repeat the first question again?
Like before, what's a better person to you?
Yeah.
Pretty much, how has like your psychedelic experiences affected your creativity, and what have those experiences been like to you?
It's actually also, it has given me creative boost in the sense of I was actually tripping once, and at 4.5 hours I wrote down on my phone because it was 4:30 in the morning and all of my roommates were sleeping, and I just wanted to make music, but I wanted to make it like insanely like loud to where I could feel it, but I couldn't because it would just wake everybody up. So I wrote down on my phone at 4 hours and like 27 minutes that's the exact point that I wanted to start making music on a trip. And I just felt like I would feel what I wanted to do exactly and know exactly what I wanted to do in the DAW to make a song.
So, have you done that yet?
No, I have not actually. It was like last week, me and my girlfriend, we played Teamfight Tactics on League for like 8 hours. I've just been playing that a lot lately. I've been addicted to it.
You're a bit of a gamer then?
Yeah, I get like through cycles, so I'll like play a bunch of video games and then like I won't play for like a little while, and I'll probably either be going out or something else. I get random habits, but I always end up cycling back, and then I'll just get like hooked on a video game. I was hooked on regular League of Legends for like 3 years, and then Overwatch for the past 2 years.
Overwatch is fun. Are you PC gamer, Xbox, PlayStation, a little bit of all?
Xbox and PC.
What are some of your favorite festivals you've been to?
Buku Music Festival was really great. The vibes there were really awesome from everyone that was attending. But Buku Music Festival has been one of my favorites. EDC Orlando I've been to like 8 times. I'm going again this year. I don't even know how many years has it been going on. I think I've been 7 times. It's 2019. Yeah, this is my 7th year going. That's crazy.
What have been some of your favorite memories from EDC Orlando?
Last year was awesome, actually. I drifted away from my pack because I went to the bathroom and they said they'd be right there, and they weren't there when I came out of the bathroom. I was like, whatever. I was like, I don't. They were going to the main stage anyway, so I went off on my own, and Pendulum was playing, and I got the perfect video of them dropping the Noisia remix of their song Colors. Yeah, I think it's Colors. Hold Your Colors. I'm drawing a blank. I also just love the effort that they put into the festival. I would also love to see Electric Forest.
Did you ever go to Halloween, or have you been to Halloween?
No, I have not, but my best friend slash manager and one of my other good friends, they went last year, and they were telling me that I should go this year.
Yeah, people compare it to like a mini Electric Forest. I'm definitely not going to try to say, because Electric Forest is its whole own beast. But when I went, I don't know. So, what do you want to say about your new compare it to a mini Electric Forest?
I think it's definitely. I've been making a lot of songs over the past I've been producing probably since 2015, 2016-ish. And I made Eyes on You in 2017, but I didn't release it till this year because I was working on a lot of ideas and the image of what I wanted to go for. But this song, I think it definitely stepped up in terms of production. I learned a lot over the time that I spent not releasing music and just sitting on Eyes on You. So you'll definitely see a jump up in quality, and I hope to keep pushing that.
So, I'm guessing you're going to want to play it live. Where can some people go and see you play it out?
I don't have any bookings currently. I've been having a whole plan to release. Let me pull up my Google Calendar because right now I'm on all my major streaming platforms. So I want to get my content up on all my streaming platforms. And if we go month by month, I got Violent Delights coming out, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 songs coming out by October 14th.
And they're all more along your down tempo line?
Let's see, we have Nope. The next one's gonna be a house song, then back to 2 mid tempos, and then another upbeat techno song.
And where's the rabbit come from?
I was actually gifted a perler. I can provide a picture of it. And I don't know why I started wearing it downtown Orlando every day. I just did. And I wanted to see who would start recognizing me for it. And the people that I was hanging out with just ended up coming up with Wubbit as my DJ name because I could not come up with a name for the life of me. And I was like thinking. And then they said I was always bouncing around because we were always listening to house music. And so I was always shuffling and hopping up and down. And they nicknamed me Wubbit. And I liked the name and it stuck. And then it was in 2016 during Porter Robinson's DJ set that I heard Shady and Rez for the first time, and I became hooked on them immediately. And that whole mid tempo thing, and that's just took over. And that's where I got more. I actually had a different logo before this one, but that's where we took more of the dark idea and have more of a solid plan of what everything's going to sound like.
What are you drawn to about the mid tempo?
I like the bounciness of it, along with, I guess it's just something that not a lot of people are playing. So I think that that's something that drew me to it, along with the speed and the way the sounds hit your ear. Because I love house music, like, it's one of my favorite things in the world, and, well, I don't know why I didn't say Varian's name earlier when I was thinking about artists that I've seen and loved, but, some of that music, the house music he makes and stuff too is, like, super dark and awesome, and, the house song that I'm coming up with was one of those, like, it's not trying to be a typical house song. It's just at, like, 126. So,
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It'll be cool to hear you push the boundaries on house. Most people think, house is all happy and cheery. I mean, Avicii, obviously happy, cheery, like good emotions. So it'll be nice to hear kind of the opposite side of things and see where we can go within the boundaries of house music, even because it is fun and like it's hard to get the dub people, down tempo people, and rhythm type people sometimes to see all there is to see about more stuff like house. There's almost that internal EDM war between house heads and bass heads.
now I'm remembering all the artists that I wasn't mentioning earlier. Um, One of my favorites to play live, when, like, rhythm has become such a huge thing in Orlando and Florida, and it has been for a while in dubstep and a lot of the bass music here, to me, it sounds a lot of, like, Washed and the Same, and someone who's come out the gate with some of the freshest, like, dirtiest shit, fucking 13. When I drop his songs live, like, the crowds just don't their faces just melt because they're so dirty. He's killing the game. I love what he's doing.
Yeah, 13. I haven't heard of him. Is he more house and down tempo and stuff?
Oh my god, you have not heard of him?
Uh-uh.
Here, let's so this is actually the one that I drop live. Just promos 13 in here.
As far as I go, this has been a good first interview. I'm not sure what other questions I have to ask you. Is there anything that you want to say on your behalf to the people that are listening and everything? Or
After this slew of releases, I'm gonna start working on an EP, so you can expect a whole vision of a couple of songs together. So it'll be nice to release a first EP, and I'll probably do a mix or two here or there.
sweet. So people on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. Sounds like what we got to do is tag some Wubbit and some stuff and get him at places like Guilt in Orlando, get him on over to the Ritz in Tampa and get him playing some live shows. I want to hear some of that dirty house and down tempo.
Yeah, you can check out my mixes down the Wubbit hole. I have 2 out right now on my SoundCloud, but I'm also on Spotify, Apple Music, and every other major streaming platform.
Nice. And we'll get all the links put together for that. We'll have them in some annotations. We'll have a text version highlighting some of the main points in this interview also. This will go on YouTube, posted on Twitter, all that fun stuff.